Another kind of pricing, demand-based pricing, we talked about this before, yield management pricing, sometimes called dynamic pricing. This is airline pricing, usually done in situations with high fixed costs and limited capacity. And the idea is that you charge different prices to different segments, and the idea is to maximize overall revenue. We're starting to see this approach now used with sporting events and concerts. Rather than paying a fixed price, is the price of a ticket for a concert may vary depending on how fast the tickets are selling. If it's a hot concert, the price might go up to maximize revenue. If it's not a hot concert, the prices might drop in order to fill the arena or fill the venue. The advantage maximizes inventory. The disadvantage is there's a perception of unfairness. Is I'm experiencing the same service, why should I get a different price? The last one I want to talk about, this is one that I've just observed becoming more and more prominent, the idea of subscription pricing. So rather than buying a product outright, I pay a price for access to the product for a limited period of time. And I'm seeing this in more and more areas where it wasn't before. So it wasn't too long ago when for a software product you would buy the software product, and now you buy the license to the software product and you get automatic upgrades, but you never actually own it. I'm seeing this in the textbook market. Rather than buying a textbook, you lease a textbook for a certain period. That way it lowers the cost to you, but you have limited access afterwards. And the idea is, yes? I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
Is it the same thing for like when you do installments through like your cell phone plan? Because I know you're like leasing it and you're not really.
Yeah, it's a cell phone plan, subscription. It's so much per month. Yeah. And again, this was natural this comes from magazines and newspapers, but it's natural in things like a cell phone service where you're paying for the service month by month. What's happening is it's going into other areas that, rather than buying a book, I subscribe to access to the book for a certain period of time. I'm just seeing it in more areas than I've ever seen before. PlayStation Now is I don't buy video games anymore. I buy access to PlayStation Now, which gives me a library of video games as long as I'm paying my subscription fee. Netflix. Rather than buying movies, I pay for access to a library of movies for a period of time. So the advantage of this is it lowers the perceived cost of the product. So rather than paying $60 for a video game, I pay $14.99 a month for access to hundreds of video games. That seems a lot cheaper, although over the course of the year I'm going to be paying more than that $60, but I have access to more than just one video game. So the issue here is, and this is kind of fun, I was at a seminar recently, and they estimated that in a typical marketing situation, 80% of the marketing budget is spent on customer acquisition, and it's much more expensive to acquire a new customer than it is to retain an existing customer. So what the subscription model does is it shifts the focus from acquiring customers to retaining the customers. So you get them in for the subscription, and then you just want to get them to renew. So in the worst case scenario is when the subscription period is up, you send out a renewal notice and the customer has to negotiate the transaction again. More common is automatic renewal, sometimes called opt-out renewal, where I give you my credit card information and you will automatically be renewed, and I will send you a notice, well in advance of when I'm going to charge your card. But we all know from cognitive miserliness that it's a lot harder to pay attention and actually do something than it is to just let it happen. I am going to negotiate with my bank this afternoon because I haven't been paying attention and have accrued all kinds of interesting charges that were totally avoidable if I'd been bothered to open the statement. But again, it's just the way people are. And then a variation that we see in the digital world is the idea of freemium, where you get a certain level of service for free, which ties to the DNA of the internet is that information is free, and that when I go to a website, I should get something of value for free. So that allows you to, deal with that perception that information should be free. So I give you a basic tier for free, and then if I want full access, I have to pay for a subscription. So, for example, in the media, I can get some articles from the Wall Street Journal for free, but if I want full access to the Wall Street Journal, I have to pay for it. Questions on demand-based pricing?